This is Commission President Ryan Calkins convening the regular meeting of April 28th, 2026. The time is 10:34 a.m. We're meeting in person today at the SEA Conference Center and virtually on Microsoft Teams. All commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Mohammed, who will join later for the business meeting. They are currently gathered in the executive session room awaiting the opening of the public meeting. We'll now recess into executive session to discuss one item regarding litigation, potential litigation legal risk per RCW 4231.10(1)I for approximately 60 minutes. We'll reconvene into public session at 12 p.m. Thank you.
We are in recess.
This is Commission President Ryan Calkins reconvening the regular meeting of April 28th, 2026. The time is 12:05 p.m.
You've been muted.
We're
To
meeting
unmute
in person.
yourself, press *6.
We're meeting in person today at the SEA Conference Center and virtually on Microsoft Teams.
You are no longer muted.
Clerk Hart, please call the roll of all commissioners in attendance.
Thank you so much. Beginning with Commissioner Calkins.
Here?
Thank you. Commissioner Cho.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Fellman.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Hasagawa.
Present.
Thank you. And Commissioner Mohammed.
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum established.
All right, all votes today will be taken by the roll call method or by general consent, so it's clear for anyone participating virtually how votes are cast. Commissioners will say aye or nay when their name is called. We are meeting on the ancestral lands and waters of the Coast Salish people with whom we share a commitment to steward these natural resources for future generations. This meeting is being digitally recorded and may be viewed or heard at any time on the Port's website and may be rebroadcast by King County Television. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item of business today is approval of the agenda. As a reminder, if a commissioner wishes to make a general comment for or against an item on the consent agenda, it is not necessary to pull the item from the consent agenda. Rather, a commissioner may offer general supporting or opposing comments later in the meeting. However, it is appropriate at this time if a commissioner wants to ask questions of staff or wishes to have a dialogue on a consent agenda item to request the item be pulled for separate discussion. Are there any items to be pulled from the consent agenda or any motions to rearrange the order of the day? Commissioners, the question is now on approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Is there any objection to approval of the agenda as presented? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. Before we move on to the next agenda, I've got a fun little thing to do right now. I want to take a quick moment of personal privilege to recognize two of our own commission team members for 10 years of service at the Port of Seattle. One of them is Commissioner Fellman. We thank you so much. We've even got these cute little pins that he now gets to wear on his lapel. And the other one is for Aaron Pritchard, Chief of Staff.
Wow.
Woohoo!
Let's get a picture. We really are lucky to have both of you, sincerely. All right, next on our agenda is the Executive Director's report. Executive Director Metric, you have the floor.
Thank you, President Calkins. Good afternoon, Commissioners. It's already been a busy and productive morning here at the Port. Commissioner Hasagawa, thank you for joining the celebration this morning, marking the official launch of the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport's new Transportation Management Association, SEA Moves. Thanks for being there. Establishing a physical location for transportation services makes it even easier to roll out new programs and incentives to help reduce single occupancy vehicle travel to and from the airport and make it easier for workers to arrive at their jobs at SEA. And Commissioner Fellman, I also want to thank you for your leadership in convening this morning's discussion with industry leaders on the maritime fuels transition, specifically liquefied natural gas. And we are at a inflection point where we are starting to see more momentum for cleaner fuels moving forward. So collaboration and leadership between policymakers and the industry will be critical as we seek to operationalize cleaner fuels regionally across the region and across the global maritime industry. In fact, this very topic was the major focus of many discussions last week as I attended Singapore Maritime Week. While the focus of many of the discussions were on the Straits of Hormuz and its impact on the crews and the ships and energy supplies, many also viewed this as an opportunity to reinvigorate alternative maritime fuels for resiliency and energy security. Turning to operations here at SEA, spring break increased travel for many families, and the demand for parking was high and our garage reached capacity. While we did not set any records for travel days, I'm pleased to report that we exceeded our forecast of 1% growth for this period, and we're up to 3% and we were up 3% versus 2025, with an estimated 1.8 million passengers traveling through the airport. Thank you to all the staff that kept our gateway operating smoothly during this very busy time. It is a testament to our aviation division's vision and hard work that we continue to be recognized for outstanding results despite the high volume. This month, SEA was recognized for its excellent coffee, outstanding shopping, and lower stress experience. But perhaps the award that meant the most was the one we received Friday night, the Employer of the Year Award for SEA Airport by Comto, Washington State. For those of you that are not aware, Comto is North America's premier multimodal advocacy organization in the transportation industry. They enhance workforce development, connects talent to opportunities, and uplifts all experience in the transportation industry. Recognition like this happens when an entire organization moves forward together. Congratulations to all who contribute to SEA's success as an employer and the force for positive change in transportation. As we work to keep pace with growth, I want to briefly highlight an upcoming milestone for SEA. On May 22nd, the draft environmental impact statement under the State Environmental Policy Act will open for public comment as a part of the Sustainable Airport Master Plan. This marks a shift into a more visible community-facing phase of work. The region is expected to add about 1 million people by 2035, and SEA is already seeing record demand with over 52 million passengers last year and continues to play a major role in the regional economy. The master plan outlines near-term investments to expand capacity and improve efficiency, including a second terminal, airfield upgrades, and roadway improvements on and around the airport. Over the coming months, the key focus will be on public engagement. We expect strong interest and feedback, particularly around environmental and community impacts. This phase will be critical. We will track themes, risks, and any potential impacts to scope or schedule and keep you updated as we move forward. A public briefing is planned for the Commission later this year. Congratulations to everyone involved in reaching this milestone. Another achievement worth celebrating is the addition of SEA's 58th international service offering with Alaska Airlines' inaugural flight to Rome, scheduled to depart later this evening. This marks Alaska's first ever European route and opens up one of the largest previously unserved international markets from SEA. Shifting to the maritime operations, since we last met, the 2026 cruise season has begun, and we have welcomed the first 7 cruise ships, the 330 we expect this season. The cruise season is noteworthy since cruise activity in Elliott Bay produces nearly $1.2 billion in total local business revenue each year and supports more than 5,000 direct and indirect jobs, reaching $326 million in total compensation across Washington's economy. This cruise season, 11 of the 16 homeport vessels will connect to shore power, with design underway for additional connections at Pier 91 that will come online in 2027. Item 8G on our consent agenda requests procurement of long lead materials for these connections. We plan to come back later this year for a Commission authorization of a guaranteed maximum price for these projects to help meet Commission order 2024-08, requiring utilization of shore power by cruise ships at all port facilities by 2027, next year. We are well on the way to having all vessels connect to shore power. Last year, 87% of shore-capable vessels connected to clean power via Seattle City Light while at berth. This avoided an estimated 6,444 metric tons of CO2. Thank you to all the staff that worked tirelessly to prepare us for another busy cruise season and to the teams working on our transition to shore power. In other developments on our waterfront, the Elliott Bay Connections Greenway opened this week along Alaskan Way, creating a new continuous waterfront corridor linking Waterfront Park to the Olympic Sculpture Park. This is a strong example of public-private partnership delivered in coordination with the City of Seattle and community partners and funded through private philanthropy. From a port perspective, this strengthens activation of our northern waterfront, improves access through Centennial Park, and enhances the overall visitor experience, especially during peak cruise operations. The project closes a key gap in the regional trail network and supports safe, low-carbon mobility for residents and for visitors. Importantly, this positions Seattle's waterfront as a front door for international visitors as we prepare for the 2026 World Cup in a couple months. Additional park improvements and shoreline enhancements will continue in the coming weeks. This is all very good news for the businesses located at the north end of Seattle's waterfront. One other piece of good news we are celebrating this month is the launch of a new vessel by the FRS Clipper, a Port of Seattle tenant and a mainstay of the Puget Sound maritime economy. In fact, FRS Clipper is celebrating 40 years of operation this year. The new whale-watching vessel, Emerald Clipper, doubles the company's capacity for whale-watching tours while cutting emissions with more fuel-efficient engines and design, and less wake at the same time. It's good to see a local maritime sector expanding in such a positive way. And I also want to recognize, Commissioners, that we marked Earth Day last week on April 22nd. It was a moment to reflect on the need for global environmental stewardship, but more importantly, to reaffirm what is already a core commitment here at the port. Our environmental agenda remains active and ambitious. We're continuing to advance work towards decarbonizing port operations, restoring habitat along the Duwamish, maintaining a strong stormwater management program, and progressing cleanup of legacy contaminated sites. These are not symbolic efforts. They are embedded in how we operate day to day and how we plan for the long term. It is part of our triple bottom line. At the same time, we are navigating a shifting national landscape where policy direction and signals about funding are less certain. Our sustainability commitments remain grounded in our responsibility to the communities we serve and the environment we depend upon. I also want to acknowledge the teams who partnered with the Duwamish Alive earlier this month to support habitat restoration. That work reflects both operational follow-through and meaningful community engagement, which continues to be an important part of how we deliver on these goals. So overall, while there is some uncertainty externally, perhaps nationally, our direction internally and here remains steady, and our work continues to move forward to protect our sensitive marine environment. Turning to today's commission meeting, I'd like to highlight a few items on the agenda. Item 8H is an action that extends our partnership with the Seattle Aquarium to monitor urban kelp. The data from this project is a key indicator of shoreline habitat and a healthy marine ecosystem. This request will extend that partnership by an additional 5 years. We also have a request to extend several custodial contracts. These contracts are under a labor harmony agreement, and modifications are necessary to account for additional square footage due to our opening of the Sea Concourse expansion planned for next month, as well as to ensure we do not have service disruptions during the FIFA World Cup. A larger contract authorization will come later this year once we refine the overall program. So, Commissioners, that concludes my report. But before I end it, I would like to call Elizabeth Morrison to the dais, if that's okay.
Please.
Commissioners, thank you. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
So this day has finally come for Elizabeth to come before the commission for one last time. But it's not to present the tax levy or to describe a complicated financing mechanism. I know the commissioners love those when we do that. But it's to reflect on her time at the port as she enters into retirement. From finance Finance Manager to Senior Manager of Corporate Finance to Director of Corporate Finance, Elizabeth has become one of the institution's anchors. After more than 3 decades of steady hands and sharp judgment, Elizabeth will be closing the books on an extraordinary career here at the Port. Elizabeth joined the Port in March 1994 as a senior financial analyst, bringing with her a resume that already spanned the Voice of America, the World Bank, and the United States Congress. Along with Mandarin skills, she put to work in both media and trade. And I didn't know that about you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth built her career here the way that you would want someone managing your finances to do it, thoughtfully and with an eye on the long game. She's played a central role in shaping and executing the Port's capital financing strategy, supporting long-term planning, overseeing capital funding and budgets, and guiding Treasury operations. Over her career, Elizabeth has managed the Port's debt financing program, overseeing the issuance of billions of dollars in bonds to fund critical capital projects, while also leading numerous refinancings that reduce borrowing costs and strengthen the Port's financial position. She played a pivotal role in reestablishing the Port's access to the bond markets following the September 11th attacks. In a striking twist of fate, Elizabeth was scheduled to fly to New York that very morning, planning to meet the Port's underwriters for breakfast at the World Trade Center. Fortunately, her flight never departed that day. In the late 1990s, she supported a complex off-balance sheet financing effort for the expansion and modernization of Terminal 18, work that spans several years and ultimately preserved valuable capital capacity for the Port. She was instrumental in navigating financial challenges of the airport's consolidated rental car facility during the global financial crisis, when access to the bond markets was disrupted and the project was temporarily suspended. Elizabeth developed and led a short-term funding strategy that kept the project moving forward until long-term financing could be secured. She also played a key role in the creation of the Northwest Seaport Alliance, focusing on capital funding structures, financial policies, and protecting bondholder interests while preserving strong credit ratings. During the unprecedented challenges, we can see this whole history of challenges presented before us in her 3 decades. And during the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, she was central to the Port's financial response, implemented liquidity enhancements, establishing emergency funding mechanisms, and adapting financial policies to ensure continued stability. Throughout her tenure, she's helped maintain the Port's outstanding bond credit ratings, consistently among the highest for ports and airports nationwide. Her fingerprints are all over the Port's financial strength and solid the footing we are on. What sets Elizabeth apart, though, is not just technical expertise. It is her ability to make complex financial concepts actually make sense. In 2025, when called upon, she stepped in as the interim chief financial officer during the leadership transition, provided the organization with a calm, capable hand before passing things seamlessly to Chris Wimsatt as chief financial officer. She's been a translator, a mentor, and a steady source of clarity in a field that doesn't always offer much of it. So, and on the outside of the Port of Seattle, Elizabeth has given her time and talent to the Seattle Girls School and Seattle University Economics Department Advisory Board, continuing her commitment to the community and education. Elizabeth has served with exceptional insight, professionalism, integrity, and a steadfast commitment to the Port's mission. So I say, Elizabeth, we will miss your warmth, your perspective, and the way we have together invested in people. So congratulations. I thank you personally you've served for many executive directors, but I really value our time together over these 8 years. And I want to congratulate you on an extraordinary career and thank you for your invaluable contributions. I wish you the best in your retirement. Thank you. Thank you.
And we're going to keep on some praise now, and then at the end, if you'd like to give some remarks, we'll make some time for that. Commissioners, any thoughts? Commissioner Cho.
I don't know how I feel about this. Elizabeth, you since day one, you've been such an instrumental part of this organization in terms of not just your daily roles, but even in the even now 7 years that I've been here, we dealt with the COVID-19 pandemic. We've dealt with so many different issues here whether it's, financing our major capital projects, keeping us up to date on what the market is like for our bonds and our bond ratings. I really do think that your tenure here has enabled the port to be good stewards of our constituents and public funds. The fact that the port is in such a great solvent and liquid position is so much, we have so much to thank you for because of your wisdom, all your knowledge. And selfishly speaking, every time you're in front of us or you're in front of me, I always learn so much about not just how things work here at the port, but the broader bond market and what we can expect. And it's invaluable knowledge that we are unfortunately not going to have going forward. I certainly hope that you stick around and you continue to stay engaged with the port family, because I know for a fact that I'll miss you in the halls of Pier 69, and I know my colleagues at the Port of Seattle will feel the same way. But you are truly, if I'm so bold as to say, a legend at the Port of Seattle when it comes to all the tremendous work you've done for us. I'm extremely grateful for your years of service here. I wish you all the best in your next chapter, but I certainly hope that that next chapter still has a little bit of bandwidth for us. So congratulations. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Commissioner Hasegawa?
What I'll add is not just the tremendous accomplishments of the way you've been able to manage our portfolio and all of your, your several contributions to the port being in the position that it is now. But it's the way that you did it. You have so much grace and poise and strength in the way that you guide and inform us. It's like you pack a pair of velvet gloves with you everywhere you go. Yes, thank you for being the powerhouse that you have been for the well-being of this institution. And I hope that your next chapter will be the absolute most rewarding one yet. And congratulations to you.
Commissioner Fellman?
Yes, this is a bittersweet situation, but you certainly have earned your break, and hopefully you still have plenty of time to enjoy your time off. But, your dedication to the port's fiscal stewardship is irrefutable and greatly appreciated. Your ability to translate these complex monetary policies has been invaluable to me, but it's really the integrity and warmth you bring to this position that has made some boring math stuff really fun to learn about. And I've always felt confident that your recommendations are coming from the right place and have never had a reason to question them. So thank you so much and enjoy your well-earned time off.
And I checked in with Commissioner Mohammed. She has a bad connection right now, but she says, please tell her how grateful we are. And so I will pile onto that and say, when I first joined the port in 2018, we used to have this meeting in the mezzanine level. You remember that dark room that was much bleaker than this one? And I have very distinct memories of you presenting to us as sort of like a kindergarten teacher, talking very patiently to pupils who weren't quite getting it, but being incredibly patient and kind and understanding, sort of taking, the complex calculus of what you do and putting it into terms that us lay people could understand. And I know that you understood that it wasn't just getting the commissioners to understand, but ensuring that the public, whose agency this is, understood the reasoning behind decisions on tax levy and budget and where we're getting our sources of funds. And that ability to communicate to all of us, a very technical and in fact, deeply impactful part of our mission here at the Port of Seattle was, we're going to miss that a lot, Elizabeth. And I also want to echo another thing that Steve said, which is you are an incredibly kind person. It just exudes from you. And so even if you had never done all of this amazing public service you've done, your life has been well lived just by your kindness. So Elizabeth, thank you so much for your public service. And I'll turn it over to you if you want to say anything.
Well, thanks to Michelle for bringing me some tissues. Thank you for your kind words and for not pointing out the mistakes I've made in my career. I'll just say that when I talk to finance professionals, I tell them the port is the best place to work because we get to apply the discipline of financial management in an organization that can never be only about the bottom line. And that tension between doing well and doing good that we've often talked about is such a wonderful professional challenge that I have loved for 30 years. And I've also loved the people that I've been able to work with, the excellent and caring public servants, including yourselves. I've appreciated your commitment to financial stewardship, your openness to my suggestions, and your willingness to challenge me and make me think about things differently. So thank you, and thanks to my fellow port employees who have made this a very rewarding 31 years. And I look forward to watching the port meet new challenges with the integrity that we always do.
Wonderful.
So thank you.
All right, come on up. Let's get a quick picture with Steve and the commission and Executive Director Metric, anything further in your report?
That concludes it. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. We're now at committee reports. Erica Chung, Commission Strategic Advisor, will provide the report.
Good afternoon, President Calkins, Commissioners, and Executive Director Metric. I have 3 committee reports for you today. On April 20th, Commissioners Calkin and Fellman convened the Sustainability, Environment, and Climate Committee with 2 items for discussion and briefing: an update on the Sustainable Evaluation Framework for T91 Uplands Phase 1, and the Maritime Climate and Air Action Plan implementation. On April 21st, the Equity, Workforce Development, and Conditions Committee met to provide Commissioners Hasagawa and Mohammed with an update on the status of the SCA Healthcare Policy Directive. Staff provided a timeline and a core policy framework for the policy directive, including addressing key conceptual, legal, and implementation challenges. On April 21st, Commissioners Cho and Fellman convened the Waterfront Industrial Lands Committee with 2 items for discussion and briefing: the preliminary analysis of the suitability for developing the Wasca site and the potential impact to the port from the recently released Coast Guard Record of Decisions. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica. Are there any follow-up questions from commissioners regarding the reports? Okay, we'll now continue on in our agenda to the public comment portion of our meeting. The Port Commission welcomes public comment as an important part of the public process. Comments are received and considered by the Commission in its deliberations. Before we take public comment, Clerk Hart, can you please display the QR code to our public comment rules of procedure? For members of the public providing public testimony, it is essential to follow these rules. Copies are also available by the door. Please note that in order to accommodate the large number of speakers that have requested to speak today, each speaker will have 1 minute for comments today. All right, Clerk Hart, you can call our first speaker.
Thank you. Give me just 1 moment to get that timer up and shared. Thank you. And I am going to alternate between the room and online. Beginning with online virtually, we have Christine Scarcy.
Christine, please repeat your name for the record and your agenda item or topic related to the conduct of port business, please, and then I'll start the timer.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Scarce. I am speaking in relation to agenda item 11B.
Thank
I
you.
am the Director of Tourism Development at Visit Seattle. Cruise is one of the most important visitation drivers for the city, bringing travelers who stay in our hotels, dine in our restaurants, shop locally, and visit iconic places like Pike Place Market and our waterfront. In 2025, Seattle set a record with 298 ship calls and 1.9 million revenue passengers. And the port estimates that cruise activity generated more than $1.2 billion in regional economic benefit and supported more than 5,120 direct and indirect jobs. That momentum continues into 2026 with projections of over 330 vessel calls and $2.1 million in revenue passengers, our biggest season yet. New brands like MSC Cruises and Virgin Voyages will bring new visitors, new spending, and greater visibility for our city. I encourage the Commission to continue supporting the policies and investments that keep Seattle competitive as a cruise home port, because when cruise succeeds, Seattle workers and Seattle businesses succeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Scarce. Next speaker.
From the room, and I do want to apologize in advance to anybody if I pronounce your name incorrectly. You will have an opportunity to correct my bad pronunciation. Ron Finney? Finney, thank you. And Ron, please come to the table, and the mic is on, and just repeat your name for the record and your agenda item or topic related to the conduct of port business, and then I'll start the timer.
Okay, Ron Finney, Local 19, on cruise.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Port Commissioners. Local 19 is very excited with this upcoming cruise season. We have not imagined that the cruise industry would have lasted this long, but it is, and it's become successful, long-lasting, and it started in '99. My years might be off, but 27 years. We've had the largest cruise season of all time coming this year. The Port of Seattle Commissioners, thank you guys for the support and the efforts to complete the market that was created back in 1969 in Vancouver, BC. The jobs that created from the airport to the docks have been an amazing part, and we appreciate the partnership that we created with the Port of Seattle and the cruise industry over the past 27 years. We're also excited to work with Metro Ports and Ports of America this year. Not only do these jobs employ Local 19 members, but also employ longshoremen from Bellingham to Coos Bay. To finish it off, because of the partnership we built with the Port of Seattle and Local 19, we have become one of the best cruise ports in the world on service and turnaround times. Thank you, Commissioners, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Finney.
Our next speaker online, joining us virtually, is Catherine Gerke. Catherine, please repeat your name for the record and your topic that you're speaking about today, and then I'll start the timer.
I'm Kathy Gerke, and I am with the Space Needle in Chihuly Garden and Glass, and I'm speaking about the cruise season.
Please proceed.
As the 26th cruise season is starting, I wanted to provide some comments in support of the cruise business in Seattle. As I've lived in Seattle for most of my life and was working at the Bell Harbor Conference Center when the cruises started, that 30 years ago. It's amazing to me to see the business has grown to this, to now this record year. The Seattle Center campus is the second most visited attraction for cruise visitors, resulting in approximately 160,000 visitors from cruise ships to the Space Needle during the season. That makes up about 10% of our annual attendance. Not only does that help us, but it helps all of the businesses in the Seattle Center area, restaurants, as well as the monorail and through the downtown corridor. We're working with CLIA next year to bring the Cruise Symposium to Seattle, and we will be hosting 300 regional cruise tourism leaders to both the Space Needle and Chihuly Garden and Glass as a result of that. I would like to encourage the continued support of the cruise business in Seattle, and thank you for all of your support in the past.
Thank you, Ms. Gerke. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Thank you. From the room, we have Patrick Johnston. Patrick, please go ahead and repeat your name for the record and your topic that you're speaking on today, and then I'll start the timer.
Patrick Johnston, Cruise. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Patrick Johnston, and I'm proud to speak on behalf of ILW Local 19, representing the longshore workers who move cargo and cruise vessels here in the Port of Seattle. We want to begin by welcoming the opening of the 2026 cruise season. The cruise industry continues to play a vital role in our region's maritime economy, supporting thousands of family wage jobs, small businesses, tourism, and the broader supply chain throughout King County and Washington State. Seattle has built a reputation as one of the most environmentally progressive home ports in North America. Shore power investments, clean fuel initiatives, and collaborative sustainability programs demonstrate that economic activity and environmental stewardship are not mutually exclusive. We recognize there are groups who would prefer to see cruise operations removed from the Puget Sound entirely. We respect the passion behind environmental advocacy, and we share the goal of protecting our waters, but we believe the solution is responsible partnership and continued innovation, not displacement. Driving this industry away does not eliminate global emissions. It simply shifts them to ports that may not hold the same environmental standards Seattle has worked hard to establish. Here we are proving that maritime commerce and environmental accountability can move forward together. We're also pleased to welcome Metro Stevedore into operations at Terminal 91, and we want to recognize our longstanding partner, Ports of America, for their continued commitment and service at the Port of Seattle. Growth and competition in the stevedoring sector strengthen our port, expand opportunity for skilled waterfront labor, and enhance operational resilience. ILW Local 19 stands ready to work with Metro Stevedore, Ports of America, and all maritime partners to ensure safe, efficient, and reliable service throughout the cruise season. Our members take pride in doing the job right, safely, sustainably, and professionally. We view the cruise industry not as a short-term opportunity, but as a long-term partnership rooted in shared responsibility for our workforce, our community, and our environment.
All right, wrap it up, Mr.
The Port of Seattle depends on collaboration, labor, employers, operators, and the Commission working together to grow responsibly. ILW Local 19 remains committed to that joint industry growth. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to a successful 2026 cruise season.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Yes, our next speaker joining us online is Lars Eriksson. Lars, please repeat your name for the record and your topic that you're speaking on today, and then I'll start the timer.
Lars Eriksson, speaking on agenda item 11B. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm speaking on behalf of the Seattle Metro Chamber, representing 2,600 employers and more than 750,000 workers across the region. I'm here today to underscore the importance of the cruise industry to Seattle's economy, not just along the waterfront, but across neighborhoods throughout the city and the broader region. Cruise tourism is a powerful driver of local economic activity. The impact extends across Washington State. Cruise lines source locally, purchasing fresh seafood, produce, dairy products, flowers, supplies from local farmers, fishers, and vendors. That means real economic benefit flowing to communities well beyond the Seattle city limits. In total, cruises generate approximately $1.2 billion in economic impact and supports more than 5,000 local jobs across hospitality, transportation, logistics, port operations, and small business supply chains. Workers and businesses across Seattle depend on a vibrant, welcoming tourism economy. Cruises are a vital part of that ecosystem, and it benefits the entire region. Thank you for your time and leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Erickson. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Thank you. From the room, Anthony Ariyama. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anthony Oriema here on agenda item 11B. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here on behalf of Carnival Corporation to express our excitement for what we expect will be a strong and exciting 2026 cruise season in Seattle. Seattle continues to be one of the premier cruise home ports in the world, and we value our long-standing relationship with the port. This season, we are especially excited about the arrival of Star Princess to Seattle, bringing new capacity, new guests, and continued economic benefits to the region. Sustainability remains core to our operations. We are proud to be recognized by the Port of Seattle's Sustainable Century Awards, which you'll hear more about later today. Beyond awards, our commitment is demonstrated through continued leadership on shore power, our responsible sourcing pilot program, and projects like Holland America's biofuel demonstration project from last season, which you'll also hear more about today. Finally, I'd just like to thank you, Commissioner Fellman and Commissioner Calkins, for your leadership on today's LNG Roundtable, and also a thanks to the entire Commission and Port staff for your partnership as we head into the season. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oriema. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Thank you. Our next speaker online is Dennis Sills. Dennis, please repeat your name for the record and your topic that you're speaking on today, and then I'll start the timer.
Good afternoon, Dennis Sills on cruises. Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Dennis Sills. I'm from the Downtown Seattle Association. DSA members include hundreds of businesses, nonprofits, and organizations, and each summer 165 mid-ambassadors welcome cruise guests and connect them to downtown experiences. I want to thank Director Metrick for comments on the LA Bay Connections project. We're proud to have helped and enhanced the waterfront experience for cruise visitors and residents alike. I'm here to underscore the importance of the cruise industry to our economy, not just the waterfront, but across the entire downtown core. Cruises generate approximately $1.2 billion in economic impact and support more than 5,000 local jobs. Cruises share a region's identity with the world as the Pacific Northwest gateway to exploration, reflection, and celebrating Seattle's historic role as the launching point for Alaska discovery. We're encouraged by the growth of this industry. In addition to established operators like Carnival Corporation, we're happy to welcome new entrants like MSC Cruises and new capacity like the Star Princess. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Sills. Clerk Hart, I'm going to request that we shake up the order a little bit so we keep the topic the same. So I think we could move to Mr. LeBeg next, and then to Mr. Flowers after that.
Thank you. I do see that. Calling online for Breck LeBeg. Breck, please repeat your name for the...
Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can. Please repeat your name for the record and your topic, and then I'll start the timer.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Breck LeBeg on cruises.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Greetings, Commissioner. I'm Dr. Breck LeBeg. I'm co-chair of the Climate and Health Task Force of Washington Physicians for Social Responsibility. We again ask you to cap cruise sailings from the port to minimize health harms of burned fossil fuel. I just heard your panel presentation on maritime LNG. WPSR applauds any plan to reduce PM2.5s and greenhouse gases. But despite known harms of heavy fuel oil and the legal requirement of the transport sector to reduce greenhouse gases, a $1 billion business decision was made to increase sailings, causing more health risks. That's called known intentional harm. More cruisers and flyers buy more hotel beds and meals, but cost all of us more lung disease and more money to treat it. So rather than expanding dirty fuel cruises and hundreds more flights to Sea-Tac to fill the boats, we ask you to decrease cruises and flights. Thank you for taking care of our health.
Thank you. Clerk Hart, can we move to Mr. Flowers in the room?
Yes. In the room, we have David Flowers?
I'm Darian.
Darian, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Darian. Please repeat your name for the record and your agenda item.
Yes. Madam Clerk, I'm Darian Flowers. I'm here to speak about cruises for, I believe, item 11B. Mr. President, Commissioners, thank you so much for having me. My name is Darian Flowers, and I'm Group Vice President of Government Affairs for MSC Group. MSC Group is a global leader in ocean transportation, and we're so excited that starting on May 11th, our cruise business will begin 7-night itineraries here from Seattle. This is a continuation of a long relationship that our company, a family business of over 40 years, has had with the greater Puget Sound economy, not only from being the largest cargo user of the port, but also leveraging the great aviation manufacturing that happens here with our friends at Boeing. We're very excited to welcome guests from around the world here to Greater Puget Sound and the Greater Seattle area for these itineraries into the Pacific Northwest and Alaska. Thank you so much to the port staff, the commission staff, for the warm welcome that you have extended to us. We're very excited to leverage the new capacity that SEA has happened to connect continental Europe with the Pacific Northwest that allows our guests to come here and enjoy all of the beautiful treasures that this destination has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flowers. Thanks for coming. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Yes, thank you. Our next speaker is Muriel Emisi. Welcome, Muriel. Please go ahead and repeat your name for the record and your topic, and then I'll start the timer.
I talk about healthcare. My name is Muriel Emisi. I have been working at SkyChief for 3 years. My husband and me pay $456, yet I am unable to save any money for our family, all because I have to pay so much for my insurance. I currently have a 1,000 bill to pay. Is why I cannot hold onto 1 month. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emisi. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Thank you. Yes, the speaker is Manice Prosper, and there is a translator for Manice Ernanti, St. Louis.
Please note that we'll provide
Moi,
additional
Veli
time
Manis Prosper, je travaille SkyChief, moi besoin d'un bon soin santé abordable pour moi et la famille. Moi senti me fâché en pile parce que moi travaille presque toute l'argent moi travaille. Pendant ce temps, nous pas touché en pile l'argent parce que travail là pas payé bien. Moi senti me peur en pile parce que les me retirer pour me simta résister parce que assurance là cher, pas de moyen pour me faire économie. Moi paye $256 par mois pour assurance. Moi paye $312 pour médical. Ça fait pas de moyen pour me penser pour demain. Merci.
Merci.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Manice Prosper. I work at SkyChief for 8 years. I work in the dish room. I feel upset because all the money that I work for goes to my insurance. And they don't pay us good. I feel too scared because when I retire, I won't have enough money saved because the insurance is so expensive. I don't have any way to save money. I pay $256 for insurance each month. I pay $312 for medication. That means I don't have any money to save.
Thank you. Ms. Prosper. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mohammed Osman. Please restate your name and your topic, and then I'll start the timer. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Osman. I will check affordable health insurance for the airport workers.
Proceed.
Good afternoon. My name is Mohammed Osman. I'm a cabin agent at Sea-Tac Airport. On April 1st, I saw my coworkers in video that show being treated so unfairly. They have the right to speak, and the board of Seattle, the board bullies threatening them. That aggressive reaction by the board has a lot of us afraid. We don't know who to trust at Sea-Tac. The reaction was unexpected and unfair. We are showing up to work for sick or heavy workload. Making us afraid for our safety is like throwing more fuel into the fire. Too many of us cannot afford health insurance and are treated to living life on the edge. Our jobs are physically demanding, but we keep work at the airport safe and clean. We are tired of paying full price of medical bills charged because we don't have affordable health insurance. The time to pass policy to give airport workers for quality health insurance is now. I ask you to think about how hard work we just make sure we provide it for our families. This airport cannot continue to work operating where we work without safety net. You can fix this board, commissioners, mandate quality health care for all of us who work at the airport. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Osman. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Yes, our next speaker is Kakutan Mulatu.
All right. Hello. My name is Kalkidan. I am a passenger service agent and a member of SYA6. I am proud to work at the airport. Me and my coworkers plan to deliver a letter to you. We agreed to work quietly since our presence was enough, but we didn't get there. I am a leader at the airport, but after that day, many of us are afraid to come to work. We never know what could happen. Will it be ICE? Will it be the police here that harass us? We feared not just our jobs, but our lives. All I could think about that day was my son. He is autistic and I am a single mother working so hard to provide more for my family. Who could take care of him if something happened to me that day? All we are asking is that we are treated with dignity and respect at work. We demand to be treated as essential worker. We know we are. We deal with passengers who are sick every day. I'm still upset because someone made that call to kick us out into the rain without bothering to meet with us. That was not how you treat the people that keep this airport clean and running smooth. We put our bodies on the line every day. We show up to work. When was the last time you showed up to work sick or injured from something that happened to you on the job because you couldn't afford to go to the doctor? When was the last time you saw a medical bill that you had an idea how you were gonna pay for it? We deserve better. Pass a policy that gives us quality healthcare so we can continue have a pride in working here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Mulatu.
Our next speaker is Khalil Hamouddin.
Close.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Khalil Hamouddin. I'm with SEIU 6. We represent over 1,300 workers here at Sea-Tac Airport. And I'm here today to once again talk about healthcare standards here at the airport. And I'll be honest, I struggle with what to say today because my anger over the unconscionable Trump-like authoritarian tactics that the port authorized against workers earlier this month left me disgusted. While some of you have tried to disassociate the workers we represent from the union, let me be very clear. The union is the workers here at Sea-Tac. I will always stand up for them. You claim you need permits to protest, yet when we've had them in the past, workers were still threatened with arrest for demanding better working conditions that you control. The needs of the workers here are being treated like an inconvenience to the operations here. For too long, you have used your staff as a convenient shield to block a meaningful healthcare policy. The port loves to market itself as an inclusive and welcoming, but on April 1st, we saw the truth. You may use highly curated social media campaign to tell us how great you are, and see how we can see the truth of this inclusiveness is a facade and only exists as long as Black and brown immigrant workers are seen and not heard. You ask workers to pose for your PR photos, but you refuse to address the reality of their working conditions, using ICE-like intimidation tactics against people who simply wanted to deliver a letter. And I'm gonna close with this. I will never take these colors off. No one will ever tell me this is America and it's my First Amendment right to represent these workers here. So any person that ever tells me to take these colors off, I'll take a rest before I ever take these colors off. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hamiduddin. I think we have one final speaker on the list.
Two.
Oh, two.
Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry. Forgot the other page.
Our next speaker is Stefan Moritz. Stefan, you know the drill.
It's been a while.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Stefan Moritz, Unite Here Local 8. I just want to, I think, re-emphasize the points that were being made by the previous speakers on airport healthcare. I think the stories you heard, both from members of my union, Unite Here Local 8, and of SEIU Local 6, there's hundreds more of those stories. And there's so many people struggling with the lack of healthcare access here at the airport. And we're committed to changing that. And we hope that we can do that with you. And, you know, while there's been progress made, I think there's so much more work to do. And we really are urging you to take the leadership here, take responsibility and move forward on actually finding a solution to those healthcare problems that change people's lives, because that's what this is going to be about. And we're going to fight this fight. We hope that we can fight it with you. That's what we're committed to. So thank you for your attention, and let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Moritz. Clerk Hart, next speaker.
Yes, our last speaker signed up today is Sandy Hunt. Sandy, please go ahead and repeat your name for the record and your agenda item or topic related to the conduct of court business, and I will start the timer.
This microphone here.
As long as the green light's on, you're fine.
All right. Hi, I'm Sandy Hunt. I'm representing Defenders of Highline Force, formerly Defenders of North Sea-Tac Park. I'm actually here to talk about order number 2024-12, substitute motion that was passed. There's probably a lot of adjectives that you might use to describe me. Hopefully one of them is not conspiracy theorist, but when I do go back to that October 8th meeting, the link to this particular order is missing and totally ignored. Consistently, I looked around and the other dates had all their orders attached. Just that one order is missing from your website minutes. And I think, a couple of months ago, I couldn't make it here. And so I did I hope you received the kind of summary of the history of North Sea-Tac Park, which I sent to you. I think it would be very helpful in partnership to actually have a location, and maybe you do, but a location on the website for the park that really has a history of the park, and particularly this order, because I really, in my summary, could not find where the things you have ordered your staff to do have been done. So either I can't find them on your website, or they have not been done, and I think it would be helpful to show your intent to continue to be a partner with the community, that you are doing the work, your staff is doing the work that you ordered them to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt. All right,
I brought copies, just to keep it on the front of your mind.
that concludes our signups today. Is there anyone else present on either the Teams call or here in the room today who didn't sign up but who wishes to address the commission?
Yes, I will.
Dr. Burton? And Dr. Burton, if you would state your name, the reason why you're here, and then we'll get a clock going for you.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Burton, and I'm here to address item 11B, cruise. So,
One sec.
Sorry.
Are you ready, Clerk Hart?
I am. Thank you.
Go ahead.
So I wasn't actually going to speak today, but I really would like, I feel compelled to. The port has created this myth that the cruise industry and sustainability, environmental sustainability are compatible. We heard that in the comments today. The cruise dashboard gives that impression. You talk about, over 6,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases reduced last year from shore power. What the cruise dashboard doesn't tell you is there's no context for that. 6,000 tons out of how many? And, I've done some calculations. I put them on Seattle Cruise Control's website. I sent them to the commissioners and some staff. The answer is 1,888,000. The shore power last year eliminated about 1/3 of 1% of the home-ported cruises' greenhouse gas emissions. You are not taking care of the environment. It's impossible to do with today's cruise fleet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Burton. All right, anyone else who did not sign up but who would like to speak? I'm not seeing any hands online either. Okay, at this time, I'll ask the clerk to please give a synopsis of any written comments that we've received.
Thank you, Mr. Commission President. Members of the commission, just a note that I will check that link that Ms. Hunt pointed out. It's unusual that we have a broken link, but it does happen from time to time.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Turning to written comments, we've received one written comment for our meeting today. Public comments received have been distributed in advance of this meeting for commissioner review and will become a part of the meeting minutes and the public record. The first comes from Zachary Randall, Senior Research Scientist at the Seattle Aquarium, who writes in support of Agenda Item 8H for the Seattle Aquarium Kelp Project, noting the importance of the canopy-forming forest to forming marine food webs and benefiting species such as salmon and orcas. And then I will note that around the period for public comment, we did receive as well about 60 letters in support of SEA workforce health care. So I just wanted to be sure that you all had that awareness. And thank you so much. That concludes the written comments.
Thank you, Clerk Hart. Hearing no further testimony, we're going to move on in the agenda to our consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be adopted by one motion. Items removed from the consent agenda will be considered separately immediately after adoption of the remaining consent agenda items. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda covering items 8A through 8H?
So moved. Seconded.
The motion was made and seconded. Commissioners, please say aye or nay when your name is called for approval of the consent agenda.
Beginning with Commissioner Cho.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Fellman.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Hasagawa.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed. Calling for Commissioner Mohammed for approval of consent agenda. And then Commissioner Calkins.
Aye.
Thank you. We have 4 ayes as 0 nays for this item.
And with that, the motion passes. And we are moving on to 3 new business items today. Clerk Hart, can you please read the first item into the record, and then Chief of Staff Aaron Pritchard will introduce it.
Thank you. This is Agenda Item 10A, Order Number 2026-04, an order directing the Executive Director to explore a program to facilitate secure area access for union business requirements that represent workers at the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport.
Thank you, Clerk Hart, Commission President, Commissioners, Executive Director, Aaron Pritchard, Chief Staff for the Commission Office. This order is a product of a long effort by the Port of Seattle along with the unions to determine the best path forward for greater union access so that they can access their organized folks who behind the security. We've taken some steps over time, including creating unlimited escorts and done a lot of tours and site locations to find places for employees to gather on the non-secure side. And it's been a long road. It's something we've been working on together with Wendy when she was running the security, and with Mikkel O'Brien. And this order represents the next phase in that effort to work with unions to find a way forward. I have received some feedback from union representatives who were interested in, and they had a set of questions that I believe will be largely answered as we go into the program development phase after this order is introduced to Commission and assuming it's adopted. So I just want to say thanks to all the folks who've been working with us on this, and hopefully it's an important moment in this timeline. Thank you. Go ahead, Francis.
Thank you very much, Aaron. Francis Cho, Commission Strategic Advisor. Thank you very much, Aaron. I actually don't have much to add, Aaron, so I appreciate that. Very good introduction, and I think just real quickly, order number 2026-04, as Aaron mentioned, is a follow-up to previous order number 2025-07 that the Commission had previously adopted. And it is 2026-04 is a order introduced by Commission President Calkins and Commissioner Hasegawa. And with that said, I would like to turn it over to Commissioner Hasegawa, who I believe has a little bit more background, or is that okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. There you go.
Please proceed, Commissioner Hasegawa.
Well, not a whole lot. I just wanted to say that over the past year, we've been engaging with different labor unions and port staff on this topic to try to come to a solution to identify a solution to the need that they've expressed because the current system doesn't work and it's not effective. And so what happened was we passed Order 2025-07. And this builds upon that to build a better framework. Currently, we require that folks who want to, business managers who want to engage their members, they have to be escorted post-security. When you're escorted to post-security, that means you have to depend on access when an employer can approve somebody to bring somebody to the back. It requires workers to pull other workers onto the floor. It's a barrier, it's inconsistent, and it impedes the right to effective representation. And so when we came up with perhaps a thought of, do we give folks badging access, we were told that TSA would ultimately not approve it. And so we had to get creative. And so I would just like to thank Commissioner Calkins for your thought leadership for this order, which would direct our executive director to use the model of our visitor pass program and extend it to business managers. That way, it would fully comply with TSA regulations and our current security obligations. We know that any program developed would include clear eligibility limits, background checks, and explicit prohibition that would disqualify any sort of activities. We don't want to cut corners on security. I want to make that very clear. And we know that any program ultimately needs to get clearance from TSA, so we're trying to build a program that will live up to that standard. The executive director can return to the commission with a full report in the next couple months. This identifies June 1 as the deadline. And over the years, the port's invested in a childcare navigation program, including siting for an on-site childcare facility at SCA Airport. We just celebrated improved transit access through SCA Moves, and we're continuing to explore healthcare solutions for SCA employees. This order is a next step, and that's towards that same commitment to improving workforce conditions for our diverse workforce. It can only happen when we agree to be advocates that can meet folks and their needs where they're at. And so I'm very grateful for the thought partnership that's gone into this.
Commissioners, any follow-up comments? Or Francis, anything further? Okay. Commissioner Mohammed? Just want to give her...
Connectivity issue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to share that I think the spirit behind this order is one that everyone shares. We are seeking a way to ensure that workers have access to labor representatives and vice versa where they're at, so that that organizing can happen. We value the role of unions in creating a strong working conditions, a great labor force for our airport, and it's why we believe it's necessary from a business standpoint as well. At the same time, the area that we're discussing is one of the most heavily secured and regulated areas anywhere in the world. It's the secure side of an airport, and so we are navigating a set of federal laws that are very challenging, and we don't want to trip over them and make this process any longer than it needs to be. And so I think we have found a way to engage the expertise in our staff, to find a mechanism for doing this. And so I genuinely appreciate the feedback we've gotten both from our labor partners and from experts on the staff side who have helped us to understand how we can navigate this. And I look forward to coming forward with a program proposal as soon as possible. Executive Director Metric, any final comments?
Thanks, Commissioners. I appreciate the focus on safety and security at the airport, and we will look at the order and come back and report. I look forward to reporting back to you by the June 1st date.
Terrific. All right. And with that, hearing no further questions for this item, is there a motion and a second to adopt order number 2026-04?
So moved.
Second?
The motion was made and seconded. Commissioners, is there any further discussion or debate on this item? Okay. Clerk Hart, can you please call the roll for the vote? And Commissioners, please say aye or nay when your name is called.
Beginning with Commissioner Hasagawa.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Calkins.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Cho.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Felleman.
Aye.
Thank you. And calling for Commissioner Mohammed. It's 4 ayes, 0 nays for this item.
All right. And with that, the motion passes. Order number 2026-04 is adopted. Clerk Hart, please read the next item into the record, and then Executive Director Metric will introduce it. I will note that this item is a resolution for consideration of adoption on the same day it is introduced, as provided for by the Commission's bylaws and rules of procedure.
Thank you. This is Agenda Item 10B, Adoption of Resolution Number 3848, a resolution approving the port's participation in the City of Bellevue's tax increment area as authorized under RCW 39.114.020.
Commissioners, this item represents the final step in considering the City of Bellevue's proposal to establish a tax increment area, a TIF, to help fund the Grand Connection project in Link East Trail to downtown. Recent state legislation allows this TIF to exceed prior funding limits and requiring participating jurisdictions, including the port, to formally opt in. Today's action solidifies the port's participation in this funding approach, following engagement with city partners on the project's regional economic and mobility benefits. With that context, I'll turn it over to Samantha St. John to outline the next steps. Along with Samantha St. John, our East County Community and Government Relations Manager, is John Flanagan, our State Government Relations Manager. So Samantha, I believe I'm turning over to you.
Thank you. For the record, Samantha St. John, East King County Community and Government Relations Manager. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you for your time today to consider the resolution and proposal to support the Grand Connection project in Bellevue through a tax increment area. At last month's Commission meeting, you were briefed on the mechanics of this proposed tax increment area and its potential impacts on the port. Before you today is a resolution to commit Port's full participation in the City of Bellevue tax increment area for the Grand Connection crossing. Should you vote in favor of participation today, the next steps are for the remaining affected districts to adopt their own resolutions, followed by council action at Bellevue City Council on May 19th to create the tax increment area. This tax increment area would then be established as of June 1st, 2026. Thank you for considering the approval of this resolution today. I'm joined by John Flanagan, State Government Relations Manager. Chris Wimsatt is in the room, Chief Financial Officer. Online, we also have Nate Caminos, Government Relations Director, and Chris Leopold, Senior Legal Counsel, for any questions you may have.
Terrific. All right, Commissioners, any questions or comments?
No, I'll just make a comment, I guess.
Please.
As the token East Sider on this commission, I can't help but express my excitement for this project. If you've seen the renderings, it's a pretty ambitious thing to do to build a bridge across the 405. But I'm excited. We always talk about how the port is a port for the entire county, not just for Seattle proper or the surrounding cities of the airport. I think this is a great way for us to not only engage with the east side, but also meaningfully contribute to a project that will, I think, fundamentally change Bellevue and create a lot of affordable housing and retail opportunities. I mean, this is at the core of what we do as an economic development agency. I also think that despite this, the fact that this will, take some of our property tax dollars, generally speaking, I think the overall growing of the pie, so to speak, or in other words, the appreciation of property values in the surrounding area will ultimately pencil out for us and will have long-term gains for us. And so it's a small price to pay to see that economic development, but also so real potential upside for our tax levy dollars in the distant future. So I want to thank you, Samantha, as well as our colleagues in Bellevue, who are very vocal and strong advocates for this project, and I certainly look forward to seeing and walking across that bridge someday. Thanks.
Commissioner Hasegawa.
Just want to lift up, we had a robust presentation 2 weeks ago in public forum, which got into the details around this project, but who says the Port of Seattle doesn't do housing? I'm so excited about this and the net positive for housing that we're going to see deliver benefit over to the east side directly. And ultimately, we're expanding a tax base, and we have to see this as a front-end investment for returns later down the road in perpetuity. And I'm really excited about this, and I'm proud to be supporting this today.
To be clear, we don't do housing, but we are really supportive of others who want to. Commissioner Feldman.
I just really appreciate the opportunity to be able to be a King County-wide commission and support the entire county. And since like the East Side Rail effort, that was a long time ago. It's still paying off in dividends, but this is another iconic opportunity for us to be seen as county-wide contributors. So thank you for the opportunity to come before us.
Okay, I'm going to call again for Commissioner Mohammed in case she's rejoined or has reception. Okay. My thoughts on this, I really enjoyed the discussion a couple of weeks ago, and in fact, I've read a little bit more about tax increment financing in the last couple of weeks, and when we had first been asked about the question of whether the state should allow more of these, we were reluctant because it could potentially chip away at some of our ability to raise funds for our necessary projects. There was a compromise at the state level that I think is a kind of Goldilocks answer to this, and that it allows us to address any of that lost potential tax revenue while at the same time supporting municipalities in King County who seek to use the mechanism for excellent projects like this. And as I said at the time, I love that it's introducing density into Bellevue, creating walkable, rideable spaces, and really just increasing quality of life for the residents there, and doing so in such a way that leverages what feels like a miraculous financing mechanism where you're sort of banking on future property increases to be able to make improvements now. So I'm a big fan. In fact, I think, we have similar mechanisms at the port that we might have access to, that as we look at big projects, not this type of project, but around reindustrialization of places like Soto and the Kent Valley that we might have access to and that we should consider. And so I'm a big yes on this one, and I think at this point, if there are no further questions or any further debate, we will move to a vote. Is there a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 3848?
So moved.
Seconded.
And a third from Commissioner Feldman.
Don't break the mic, dude.
All right. The motion was made and seconded. Commissioners, is there any further discussion or debate? All right, Clerk Hart, if you could please call the roll for the vote.
Thank you. I do just want to note for the record that there is no objection to the consolidation of the readings today.
Thank you, yeah.
For the vote on this item, beginning with Commissioner Cho.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Feldman.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Hasegawa.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Mohammed. And Commissioner Calkins.
Aye.
Thank you. 4 ayes, 0 nays for this item.
The motion passes. Resolution number 3848 is adopted. Okay, Clerk Hart, let's read the next item into the record, and then Executive Director Metrick will introduce it.
Thank you. This is Agenda Item 10C, authorization for the Executive Director to approve funding to advertise and execute a major public works construction contract for the completion of the Fisherman's Terminal C-15 Building Improvements Project and the requested amount of $16,467,000 and a total estimated project cost of that's not correct. No, maybe it is. And a total estimated project cost of $17,267,000.
Commissioners, this item advances a major upgrade to the Fisherman's Terminal C-15 building, strengthening a highly visible asset that supports maritime activity and small businesses. The project modernizes the facility with a new roof system, energy-efficient features, rooftop solar, improving performance, sustainability, and long-term resilience. These improvements enhance the customer and tenant experience while positioning the building to meet future energy standards and reduce operating costs. Approval enables construction to move forward, delivering a durable, efficient, and future-ready asset for the port. The presenters are, I believe it's just you, Jennifer Mayada.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Jennifer Mayetta, Director of Real Estate Asset Management. And Rod Jackson actually will be doing the presentation. I'll hand it off to him. Rod, I want to make sure you're online.
I'm here.
All right, great. So I'm here to tee up this project. We are here to talk about Fisherman's Center. That's the official name of the C-15 building. And Fisherman's Terminal is a destination for many and one of our oldest properties. As you're aware, we just finished the Maritime Innovation Center building project, which included addition of artwork, informational signage, EV charging, and other amenities. After finishing the Maritime Innovation Center building, we are turning our attention to the renovation of the C-15 building, focused on meeting the Washington State Energy Code requirements primarily. The C-15 is the largest main building you see when you enter into Fisherman's Terminal, featuring Chinook's restaurant and other retail businesses and offices. This project will take approximately a year. It's scheduled to start in March of 2027 and go through March of 2028, pending the permits. Some of the impacts that I think is important for us to be informed of and how it'll affect our tenants and the mortgage customers is that there will be some scaffolding around the building while the siding and window work is being performed. However, access to storefronts and offices will be maintained while it will require some coordination during the storefront window replacements. The main parking areas and the traffic flow will be maintained during this project. Some parking to the west of the C-15 building will be utilized for laydown. The tenants and mortgage customers are already aware of the upcoming project and have provided some initial feedback on the preferred amenities. As we get closer to the start of the project, we'll do an extensive outreach to the tenants and mortgage customers and continue to communicate with a communication plan during the construction. There are several other projects, as you know, at Fisherman's Terminal upcoming. One is the Maritime Innovation Center tenant improvements for Washington Maritime Blue. This should start and be completed before the C-15 project. They intend to start sometime in July of this year, and that project should take approximately 3 to 6 months. We have the Downey Building entryway paving project, which is expected to start in January of 2028 and go through July of 28. There's about a 3-month overlap, but we can adjust that project depending on what elements are being finalized at the C-15 building. We also have 3 other projects scheduled for 2027. There's a substation 6 feeder upgrade, which is a priority project and would start in the summer after the fishing fleet leaves. And then we have 2 roof replacements at opposite ends of the terminal, the West Wall building and the C3 building roof replacements. Timing and laydown areas for this work will be coordinated with the other projects. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to Rod Jackson for the presentation.
All right. Rod Jackson, Waterfront Project Management, bringing forward item 10C for the Fisherman's Terminal the overview, I'll present the project information, project scope, sustainable evaluation framework discussion, and cone of certainty, including the schedule. Next slide, please. Okay, so the project information, as mentioned, the project is the centerpiece of Fisherman's Terminal. It has a waterfront, Port Seattle offices, tenant space, office spaces, restaurants, and stores. The multi-use building is operational 7 days a week. And for project details, we have Jennifer Maeda, you just met her, and the asset management director, including Jessica Carlson, which is the senior real estate manager. The current estimated project cost is $17,267,000. The current estimated construction cost is $16,467,000. Now, the $800,000 that we used was for seed money that we already requested authorization for, was for seed money and design. So today's request requesting commission authorization for the executive director to approve funding and advertise and execute a major construction project and for the completion of the Fisherman's Terminal Building Improvements Project. This request is in the amount of $16,467,000 for a total estimated cost of $17,267,000. Next slide, please. Okay, the project scope, we will overlay the roof with new insulation and the roof overlay. We'll install new gutters and rooftop vents. We'll install solar panels. We'll install cladding and installation. We'll update the doors and thresholds. We'll install triple pane windows. We will repair the tower structure, as you can see there. We have removable mechanical well roofs as well for future RTU and HVAC replacements. We have art completed by Mary Koff, and it is a neon art deco thing. So we're going to put that in 3 locations at the building as well. We have RGB, LED, and plaza lighting. We have bike lockers, community board and picnic tables. We have biofiltration planters and oyster barrels. We will be in compliance with the city and the state and all energy codes. And this is a rendering of what it's going to look like in the future. Next slide, please. The Sustainable Evaluation Framework review building energy, waste, stormwater, materials, and equity. Next slide, please. The cone of certainty, we're at 90% design, and we will submit for a permit in June of 26, in a couple months from now, and we are ready to move forward with the project. Next slide, please. The current scope for preliminary schedule was commissioned today, requesting construction funding. Our notice to proceed is scheduled for Q4 of 2026 or Q1 of 2027, which is around March, is what Jennifer mentioned. And the in-use date will be in Q4 of 2027 as well. Next slide, please. And with that, do you have any questions for me?
Thank you for the presentation. Commissioners, any questions?
Just a real quick one.
Commissioner Cho?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. I'm wondering what are we doing with the existing tenants of the facility? Are they being relocated, or what's going on there?
Thank you for asking. They will be remaining in business, so this work will be performed and the stores will be able to stay open during the process.
Okay, great. That's all I had.
Commissioner Fellman?
I know a lot of the tenants there are rather seasonal in their work, and there was the unfortunate bit of timing when we were doing the curb cuts during the peak of the season. And so I'm just wondering, obviously, it's going to take a year to get all this stuff done, but are we trying to phase it in consideration of those sort of things that could occlude business?
Rod, can you speak to that? Are we phasing this in any way?
Not necessarily. We're just going for basically for this construction schedule will be complete in Q4 2027. So it's not being phased, no.
But the work being performed, it will not impact our traffic and our stores' abilities, our businesses to operate, correct? Does that answer your question, Commissioner?
Okay. Commissioner Mohammed was texting me to let me know she's trying to get back online. I'm going to check and see if she's been able to.
I'm on now, but no questions. Thank you for the time.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, no further questions. This feels in a lot of ways for me like preserving a key asset for us and making sure that it's up to par for what we use it for and particularly for our tenants at a vital facility for us. So supportive of this. Hearing no further questions on this item, is there a motion and a second to approve it?
So moved.
I'll second.
The motion was made and seconded. Commissioners, any further discussion or debate on this item? All right, Clerk Hart, please call the roll for the vote.
Thank you. Beginning with Commissioner Cho.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Fellman.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Hasagawa.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Mohammed.
Aye.
Thank you. And Commissioner Calkins.
Aye.
Thank you. 5 ayes and 0 nays for this item.
And the motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rod and Jennifer. We are now at presentations and staff reports. Clerk Hart, can you please read the next item into the record, and Executive Director Metric, will you introduce it?
Thank you. This is agenda item 11A, the South Concourse Evolution Program update.
Commissioners, today's briefing provides an update on the S-Concourse Evolution Project at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. As a primary international facility at SCA, the S-Concourse plays a central role in connecting our region to the world. With record international growth and aging infrastructure, this project will modernize this key asset to enhance the passenger experience and strengthen the building's resiliency and longevity. The team will come back next month to request funding to complete all pre-construction activities. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Wendy Ryder, Managing Director for Aviation, to do an introduction, and then Stuart Matthews, Assistant Director of Aviation Project Management Group, and then Stephen St. Louis, Capital Program Manager, will present as well. So, Wendy.
Thank you, Executive Metric and Commissioners. Before I hand things over to the S-Concourse Evolution team, I wanted to take a moment to highlight the amazing work that's been underway since the last briefing, October 2025. The S-Concourse Evolution, or SCE project, is one of the major remaining upgrade SCE projects that is essential structure and seismic investment. It's also a customer enhancement that's going to meet our travelers' needs. But before coming back to you, I asked the team to really take a really hard look at minimizing the cost during the 60% designs while also implementing a project schedule that recognizes the importance of this work. The presentation that Stuart and Stephen are going to share with you today includes a considerable improvements in the overall project schedule, also robust cost estimating that takes into account our current budget forecasts and the ability to work with a general contractor to set appropriate maximum allowable construction cost packages. I want to pass it over to them. I think you'll be really proud of the work that they've done. And also, I look forward to continuing to brief you on this project throughout the time that is going to be built. So thank you very much, Stuart and Stephen. Thank you.
And thank you for that, Wendy. Good afternoon, Commissioners and Executive Director Metric. I'm Stuart Matthews. I'm the Assistant Director of Project Management here at SCA. And with me today is Steve St. Louis. He's the new program leader for the SCE program. Steve's only been on the job for about a month as he's replacing John Freeman, the previous program leader, who's left the port to move closer to his family. So I'll be leading the discussion today and sharing it with Steve, but he'll be taking this on forward as we move forward. We're here today to provide you with an update on the program. It's been quite a while since we've been there and had the opportunity to do that. And 2026 is going to be a big year for the program. Next slide, yeah. So first, we wanted to refresh everyone on the purpose of this project. First and foremost, this is a safety project as we want to bring the facility up to the current seismic and structural code standards, as well as renew aging infrastructure. A second priority was to utilize the space vacated by the relocation of the services to the IAF, and this will allow us to increase amenities and provide elevated levels of service. Next slide, please. So now the challenge. Unfortunately, SCA does not have a lot of extra space to move airlines and passengers around while construction is taking place in the S concourse. So a number of facilitating projects have been undertaken to help offset the operational impacts during that construction. Many of them are underway at this time. This slide shows projects underway to either offset the gates taken out of service or to advance the work of providing necessary infrastructure for the concourse. Moving from right to left on this slide, we have our Cargo 3 GSC parking project and our Cargo 6 hardstand projects. Both of these are in construction now and are scheduled to be completed in May of this year. Cargo 3 will provide an airside location for the staging of hardstand buses and the necessary hardstand support equipment for the increased number of hardstand operations that will be taking place. Cargo 6 is being improved to provide for passenger hardstand operations of wide-body aircraft at this location. And you'll see some construction photos on these projects a little bit later in the presentation. Next, the gate D6 conversion takes an existing concourse D gate position and returns it to a passenger loading bridge to provide another contact gate location. This improves the efficiency of the operation. Then on the far left of this slide, you will see the 188th Street duct bank and generator yard item. This is one more element of the effort to provide the necessary electrical power to the S concourse from our South Main substation. This duct bank is being delivered in multiple phases by our airfield and landside project teams to ensure the necessary power supply pathway is delivered when the building needs this new service, well before the S concourse work is complete. And as Steve mentioned, the 188th Street duct bank crossing will be coming forward next month for authorization. Next slide, please. So here you have a few photos of some of the construction work ongoing at these locations. On the left side, you'll see a slide with a couple of photos of the revised AOA fence line and the parking entrance for the United Maintenance Facility, where our buses and GSE will now be stored. In the middle, you can see the new pavement being installed for the Cargo 6 hardstand passenger operations. And on the right, you can see the new passenger loading bridge at gate D6 during construction. There was another facilitating project that had been previously identified, the Cargo 7 hardstand short-term hold room, or A-Annex as it became to be known. That was one that we wanted to mention as well, as it had been authorized for design in May of 2024. Following those initial design efforts and investigation, it was determined that the facility was going to be relatively expensive to build at the Cargo 7 location. The project team, knowing that costs of this program were a challenge, began an effort to determine a lower cost alternative. As such, the A-Annex has been eliminated as a cost-saving measure. The Cargo 7 ramp space, where A-Annex was to be built, will still be used as a hardstand for aircraft operations. A short-term facility, now situated in the footprint of gate S5, called the S-Annex, will be utilized as a hardstand hold room, with busing operations from that location to Cargo 7 and other areas beginning in 2028. The S-Annex total cost is about $25 million, while the A Annex was estimated to cost approximately $100 million. So significant savings there. Authorization for the procurement of the pre-engineered building for the S Annex will be incorporated into an action later this year in 2026. Next slide, please. And on this slide, you get to see where the A Annex, interim A Annex will be located in the upper right of the slide, within the general footprint of the S Concourse and accessible from the concourse, along with the rendering of what the facility will be in the lower left. Buses from this location will take departing passengers to hard stand locations, primarily at Cargo 7, but it can be used to serve other locations as well. This location can also accept international passengers arriving with an access pathway into the international corridor of the S Concourse. And finally, while we do not have a slide in this presentation for it, I did want to mention that the designer has been selected and a design will be underway soon for the A6 wide body modifications. We're still working on the appropriate schedule for the A6 construction to be best aligned with other gate closures to minimize impacts on airport operations. And now I'll pass it over to Steve to talk a little bit about the building itself.
Thanks, Stuart. Next slide, please. These next 5 slides provide renderings of the current design development, both inside and outside of the building. Note, you will see some differing color palettes and finishes throughout these next slides, as development on these elements is still underway. This slide provides a good perspective of the building looking northwest from about spot 99 on the airfield, where our airfield team is currently installing the duct bank for the SCE project as we speak. Next slide, please. Slide 7 provides a couple different views of the northern portion of the facility. You get the northeast perspective up top and the north perspective below. Next slide, please. Slide 8 is a view from the upper concourse level where our 3 upper gates will be, looking back toward the lounges and concessions located at this level. Next slide, please.
Commissioner Cho, do you have a question?
No, I was just going to say you got to let them know to move the slide.
Yeah, I don't want to go too quick. I know how people are absorbing the renderings. Slide 9 gives you a glimpse of the path of the passenger as they travel up the transit level to the concourse. This image is taken from the amenities level in that progression. And our amenities level provides the restrooms, the prayer room, the children's play area, the sensory room, and the nursing room. One item to note here is the elevator bank on the left side of the slide. While not completely finalized, you can see here how the team is working to make that elevator bank highly recognizable, with a common theme at each level to provide a wayfinding anchor throughout the facility. Next slide, please. And finally, slide 10 provides you with a view of one of the concourse level hold rooms. And I will turn it back over to Stuart.
Next slide, please. So we want to take a moment to provide you with a very brief update of the status of the sustainable design efforts on the program. The program will be providing a very detailed update at the next SEAC committee at their May 19th meeting, where a review of the 60% sustainable design strategies will be covered in depth. But we wanted to highlight that the program is tracking a number of items, including energy consumption, carbon emissions, and water consumption, as well as incorporating equity elements. And we are pursuing a LEED Silver certification as a minimum. Next slide, please. So at the 30% design milestone, the project knew it had a large task in front of it, as our estimates range from $2.9 billion to $3.3 billion in total. In moving from 30% design to 60%, the primary focus of the project delivery team was to find ways to lower the project cost while still delivering the best value for the port. The keys to achieving this were through a collective and collaborative effort across all team members and stakeholders to find those savings. We were instructed, as Wendy noted, to make sure no stone was left unturned. On a project like this, the most expensive thing is time, and therefore saving time on the project schedule was a primary driver and has led the effort to create the largest savings. Through value engineering efforts and schedule compromises, the project team was able to reduce the project schedule by 18 months and reduce the program budget to $2.5 billion. This has truly been a team effort. As I said, no stone was left unturned. Some stones were too impactful, and we had to turn them back over and put them back in place. But we looked at all options to get us where we are today, and that led us to the go decision to proceed forward. Next slide. As I noted at the beginning, 2026 will be a busy year for the program, and we want to lay out the path forward. So this slide provides you with what we consider the most conservative approach in terms of the potential visits back to Commission for future authorizations. The team is working to better this, and if confident, we plan to combine 2 or more of these future identified Commission actions into one. You will see the team come back next month for the authorization for continued design, project management, construction management, special inspections and testing for the program, as well as construction authorization for the 188th Street Duck Bank project that will be delivered under a separate contract. Later in the year, the MAC, or Maximum Allowable Construction Costs packages, will be coming forward for their authorization as these elements of the main building scope are finalized. The multiple MAC packages are strategically separated to support the program schedule. Next slide. And with that, we've wrapped up our presentation. We'd be happy to do our best to answer any questions you may have.
Commissioners, any questions or comments? Commissioner Cho, I know you've got a question. You've been whispering into my ear this whole time.
No, I'm just taken aback by some of these numbers. I mean, seven years is a long time. It's almost 8 years, really, but the fact that we were able to reduce it by 18 months, I know wasn't easy. And $2.5 billion is a tremendous amount of money when you think about what we did with North Satellite, IAF. This is more than double those projects. I know that, as we try to forecast our revenues at the airport for the next few years, the fiscal constraints are going to be top of mind for us. And so could you talk a little bit about, the plan when it comes to financing this? In particular, I'd love you, Wendy, to talk about some of the potential federal funding we might be able to receive. What we've already received, I think would be helpful to talk about for SoCo Evo, as well as what we might see down the line as far as opportunities are concerned.
So I can.
Did you say you love Wendy?
I do love Wendy. I do love Wendy, but I said I would love Wendy too.
So I can certainly speak a bit in general around the current funding that we have identified for federal grant funding. It's approximately, it's a little bit less than $250 million that will be funding this program. That's a work in progress right now. We've got grant funding for both our design and pre-construction efforts as well as our construction efforts. And we're deeply engaged with the FAA on scheduling and formatting that out over the next number of years. In addition to that, our finance and budget team continues to pursue additional grant funding opportunities with the FAA each year. And Robert Jacopetti from our finance and budget team works with us almost weekly, if not daily, on opportunities that exist there. So we will continue to pursue those. We've set up the entire project to be grant funding eligible. So in future years, more of that would be available. We certainly have more eligible scope than we have grant funding today.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. I think that, as good stewards, we have to continue to look at different ways of funding, and we're doing that with our CFO today, as well as just understanding and prioritizing our capital programs. This is one that we just had to get done because of safety and security reasons, but we will continue to look at different funding mechanisms as we look at all of our capital programs. I do think that we've looked at everything we can for this one, but you're absolutely correct in how we look at our future and our funding mechanisms.
I think one of the things that's helpful to understand within the context of this project is that obviously total project cost might be around $2.5 billion, but that's not a lump sum payment, and it'll be spread throughout the almost 8 years that this is going to happen. I know Chris is working hard to forecast our revenues, but also our spend, and I think it would be helpful for us to get a sense, although I'm sure you don't know exactly what the timeline is going to be, but over the next 8 years, when do we, I talk about the lumpiness of spend, right? And to the extent that we can try and figure out what years we'll be needing X amount so that we can better be prepared for those surges in costs, especially as we think about what we might have to do for SAMP over the next several years. I'm getting a little nervous around the aggregation of all these major capital projects happening at the same time. $2.5 billion is half of our capital budget for 4 or 5 year period, right? And so there's nothing to be relaxed about. So hopefully we'll be able to get that briefing at some point from the finance team.
I'd be glad to address that, Commissioner, as part of the budget process. We look at both a 5-year CIP and a 10-year CIP. So you can expect we'll be reporting back to you how this fits in.
5 years now, we might have to look at.
Well, as I said, we do look at a
yeah.
10-year. We have a 5-year, but our fidelity gets less the more we look out to 10 years on the spend program. But we have pretty good numbers of forecast. But we can report back on that.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Fellman?
So you were saying that really that time is the enemy here, really in a lot of ways that, and you have to, obviously like a lot of things, we have to fly while building and it doesn't make anything easier. But the real sore point is we don't get any new gates out of it, right?
That's correct. There's no capacity coming out of this facility.
So it's going to be seismically up to code and amenities will be up to standards and we'll still be able to land planes in the interim.
Correct.
But it's going to take a long time to do the do-si-do.
As I noted during the discussion, there were some stones that were unturned that we had to put back. One of them was an alternative phasing plan. We're in what we generally call a 4-phase, 3 wide-body gates at a time out of service. We did propose an alternative that took more wide-body gates out of service early on in the project that would have sped it up and saved more money. It just became too painful operationally. So the feedback from our airline partners and others was that they'd prefer to actually stick to the 4-phase program.
Got it. I mean, I just imagine planning for something like this must be extraordinary. So thank you for all that due diligence.
Commissioner Mohammed?
No questions at this time, but thank you for the briefing.
My questions, I think, well, first I want to understand that, tell us a bit about the communication with the air carriers who are really the current tenants and, prospective tenants for this facility. Obviously, it's primarily international. This really is where we see the greatest revenue per passenger. We want to have an amazing welcome mat for folks arriving here from overseas. What kind of dialogue have we had with key air carriers and potential air carriers that we'd like to entice to come to SEA?
You want to start?
Yeah, thank you. I think we would be remiss not to say that this has been discussed for years and years about how important our international facility is to us and our international carriers and our actually 2 largest carriers now who are both international and how important this is to them. We've had multiple dialogues with all of them about how important it is and how important the phasing is to them to continue to keep the operations running as smoothly as we possibly can during the construction phases. So yes, we continue to have the dialogue with them. They'll be a huge part of the construction phases and how we move through the phases and how important that is to them. But they all agree that we have to get this done, and they all are part of the process.
Yeah, I think this last year has proven to be particularly challenging on the international travel market because of some self-inflicted wounds by our own federal government. But in which we see just in the last week where we've lost a service, and now this afternoon we're going to celebrate a new service. And so, I think while we're doing this, our business development team needs to be assiduously working to ensure that those gates never go empty, because then the financing falls apart. I'm also curious, I recall, I think in an earlier iteration, the amenities level, I think you referred to it as, wasn't there additional duty-free originally slated for that?
You want me to take it? Yes, unfortunately, it's not shown in these particular set of slides, but actually the level below, right as you get off the satellite transit system, will that what is or was the former makeup location for baggage makeup coming out of the old FIS, that will become the duty-free space.
So that is preserved in this plan?
That is preserved in this, yeah.
I think that's certainly one way we will make sure that this thing does pay for itself over time, is to make sure.
Revenue generation was one of those key areas that we looked to maintain as we modified and value engineered the scope.
All right, well, thank you, Stuart. Thank you all for a great presentation. Yeah, we've got big decisions to make coming up, and so we appreciate full transparency with the public and information for the commission as we wrestle with big, hard questions. So, any further comments, Executive Director Metric?
Nope, thanks, Commissioners. Good questions, and we look forward to coming forward I think it's next month. Come back with
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Clerk Hart, can you please read the next item into the record?
Thank you. That's agenda item 11B, the 2026 cruise season update.
Commissioners, today's briefing highlights the strength and continued growth of the port's cruise business, reinforcing Seattle's role as a leading gateway for Alaska cruising. The 2026 season is expected to be the largest in the port's history, with increased passenger volumes and economic impact benefiting the region. Alongside this growth, the port continues to advance operational improvements, economic development initiatives to increase activity for local businesses, and sustainability initiatives, including expanded shore power use and leadership in low and zero-emission maritime fuels. This work reflects a balanced strategy supporting economic vitality while accelerating progress towards long-term environmental and community goals. The presenters this afternoon are Linda Springman, Director of Cruise Business and Ellie Bay Operations, and Alex Adams, Senior Manager, Environmental Programs, Climate and Sustainability. And Commissioners, just to make an announcement, I am going to be leaving probably at the end of this session, and Karen Goon will be stepping in for the rest of the meeting here, just so you just see I'm not just getting up and walking out. So just wanted to pass on that transition when it happens. Thank you, Commissioners. Linda.
Thank you. Thanks, Executive Director Metric, and Commissioners, thanks for this time today. We're here today to provide an overview of the 2026 cruise season that officially started Friday, April 17th. Today we're receiving our 7th vessel of the season. Carnival Spirit is at berth at T91. Go ahead and go to the next slide. You can see by the agenda, we'll be talking about what's new this season, remind everybody of the cruise dashboard to get ongoing figures and statistics from the season, and talk about a number of sustainable fuel efforts the team is working on. Next slide. This 2026 cruise season, we're expecting 330 calls, a new record up from 298 last year. We have 8 maiden calls where we welcome a ship to Seattle for the first time with a ceremonial plaque exchange. The first one will be Star Princess coming up this Friday, and we know a few of you are going to help us with those throughout the season. Appreciate that in advance. We have 16 ships home porting in Seattle for the summer. 11 of those are equipped to connect to shore power a year in advance of the 2027 100% requirement. These 16 ships home porting in Seattle represent 10 unique cruise brands. That's up from 8 last year. At Terminal 91, we also have 2 new gangways that have just been assembled and are about to be commissioned for the season. We also completed the purchase of the shore power infrastructure this winter at Terminal 91 that is critical to the expansion project in preparing for the 2027 100% requirement. Next slide. We will be welcoming 2 new cruise customers this season, MSC Cruises and Virgin Voyages. Both brands are European-based. With that European base and higher expected international passenger base, We expect to source more from international markets, and we know international markets tend to stay a little bit longer pre and post. So we should see that in our economic impact for the region as well. MSC and Virgin will go beyond regulation to protect Puget Sound. They both joined the Cruise MOU and the voluntary no EGCS wash water discharge in Puget Sound. Both ships are shore power equipped. And introducing the MSC ship, MSC Poesia, which means poem in Italian, will sail on Mondays from Terminal 91. She will be the second ship next to the Carnival ship. Typically, there was one ship on Mondays in the past. She carries 2,550 guests and 1,027 crew. And I call that out because I think we don't talk enough about how the crew represent about a quarter to a third, again, of the passenger base. Next slide. The second new brand joining us is Virgin Voyages. Brilliant Lady will be the ship calling here this year. She sails on Thursdays, the second ship next to a Carnival ship at T91. Again, a berth that was a single ship in the prior season. This ship just launched in 2024. She carries 2,700 sailors, which is what they call their guests, and 1,150 crew. And uniquely, she is an adult-only cruise brand, and the only one I know of featuring a tattoo parlor. Next slide. And then a reminder about our cruise dashboard, and this is something that Commissioner Felleman was instrumental in bringing forward, and an opportunity for us to bring all the disparate elements of the cruise season together into one view. What we do is we will launch it around June 10th this year with the April and May data, and then we update it monthly so that you have a build over the season about the numbers of sailings, the number of passengers that have visited, the number of ships that have connected to shore power, and the calculated avoided CO2. And then I will turn it over to my colleague Alex Adams for the next few slides.
Thank you, Linda. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Executive Director Metric. I'm Alex Adams, a Senior Manager in the Maritime Environment and Sustainability Department. Deployment of low and zero emission maritime fuels is a core port strategy that brings together our triple bottom line elements of our mission. The Maritime Environment and Sustainability Department is working hand in hand with the cruise line to advance maritime fuel research, planning, and deployment. So at the outset of the cruise season, I'd like to share a few examples of our work to advance that zero emission vision. First, the EPA planning grant. Last year, the port was successful in securing a $3 million Environmental Protection Agency Clean Ports Planning Grant called Powering Maritime Innovation. This gateway-wide work focuses on planning the decarbonization steps for harbor vessels like tugboats and ocean-going vessels like cruise ships. We've always said that we cannot do this work alone. So on this grant, we've partnered with leading national organizations with expertise in maritime decarbonization. Our partners include RMI, formerly the Rocky Mountain Institute, American Bureau of Shipping, and the National Lab of the Rockies, formerly NREL, and Maritime Blue. Our use of grant funds includes an analysis of vessel activity and fueling data, a harbor vessel decarbonization feasibility study, deployment of new tools for community engagement, and a desktop exercise to prepare for the future methanol fueling. We're also identifying opportunities to strengthen the port's workforce development programs to support these clean technologies in the future. And through this grant, we're building on 3 green corridor projects already underway at the port and the Northwest Seaport Alliance, and exploring ways to aggregate fuel demand and develop new sustainable fuel markets in the region. The Sustainable Maritime Fuels Collaborative and 2026 Sustainable Maritime Fuels Summit are examples of the port leveraging its convening power to bring together a broad spectrum of industry, government, NGO, research, and community partners to tackle the complex, multifaceted challenge that is deployment of these non-fossil fuels in the maritime industry and here in Seattle. The Fuel Summit, hosted by the port in mid-March of this year, was a great success and brought forward many important issues and opportunities. It highlighted the port's commitment to industry throughout this energy transition and helped spur new cross-sector conversations needed to help our region move closer toward decarbonization. And the Sustainable Maritime Fuels Collaborative, a multi-stakeholder group launched by the Ports and Maritime Blue in 2025, is currently analyzing maritime fuel supply chain impediments to inform state-level policy that can hopefully accelerate the availability and use of these low and zero-emission fuels here in the region. In the next couple of slides, I'll talk in more detail about the Pacific Northwest to Alaska Green Corridor and the cruise biofuel demonstration project that you heard about earlier today and that occurred last summer. Next slide, please. So commissioners, as you know, 4 years ago, the port joined other ports, cruise lines, and NGO partners, the so-called first movers, to kick off the PNW to AK Green Corridor, a first-of-its-kind effort to explore the feasibility of low and zero-emission cruising to Alaska. A key first step in this project was to complete a green methanol feasibility study. I'm proud to share that that body of work is nearly complete, and we expect it to be published online soon. Next slide, please. A little bit more about the green methanol feasibility study. It was conducted and led by the Maersk McKinney Mahler Center for Zero Carbon Shipping and followed a methodical approach to assess the technical, regulatory, and economic feasibility of achieving 4 cruise ships sailing on green methanol to Alaska by 2032, with the first methanol-powered ship in operation by 2030. The study is centered around understanding the additional cost for using green methanol for cruise ships in Alaska market compared to the cost of using conventional fossil fuels. The theory of change is that if you can find a way to close that incremental cost gap, the project becomes feasible. The scope of the analysis was split across 4 work streams led by different partners providing subject matter expertise. A green methanol fuel producer provided data on the feasibility and cost to produce the amount of fuel needed. Port of Seattle and Vancouver Fraser Port Authority led parallel studies to assess the delivery of fuel to ports and the bunkering of cruise ships. Cruise Lines International Association coordinated cruise line involvement and explored how much of the incremental cost gap could be potentially reflected in passenger pricing and the extent to which passengers may be willing to pay more for a lower emission cruise option. In mid-March, first mover partners met to discuss the study findings and determine next steps for the project, and we continue to work with the Maersk Center now to finalize the report, which, like I said, will be published soon. Next slide, please. Finally, commissioners, I'd like to share the results of an exciting Holland America Line biofuel demonstration project that occurred last summer and that the port supported. This project is a great example of the port and industry working together to try something new, and we hope that the findings help inform next steps locally and benefit others globally. The project aimed to test and understand real-world feasibility, cost, operational risks, and the emissions implications of using renewable diesel for cruise operations departing Seattle. In case you don't know, renewable diesel is chemically the same as fossil diesel, except it's made from organic matter, not petroleum, like vegetable oil. After a lot of research and planning, the Holland America Line ship Eurodam received renewable diesel deliveries by barge over 3 separate ship calls in Seattle. The fuel was subsequently used by the ship on its journey to and from Alaska. A project team from the cruise line and port documented cost, operational, and emissions details that together informed whether renewable diesel fuel is feasible and practical to use on a reoccurring basis. From the study, we learned a lot. Key takeaways were that renewable diesel is a safe alternative fuel that, with proper planning, can be used on the Eurodam without significant issues. However, we also learned that biofuels do not easily work in all ships. Each vessel needs its own checks and approvals to ensure compatibility with onboard systems. Infrastructure is limited. Storage and barge capacity are scarce and costly and can create a barrier to use, especially if biofuels are used in small volumes or intermittently. Also, biofuels are more expensive than conventional maritime fuels. Incentives are needed to close that gap. For instance, in our demonstration project, renewable diesel costs roughly 2.5 times the cost of marine gas oil, which is the type of fuel that the ship typically uses. These incentives already exist in Europe to drive down that cost and make biofuels much cheaper, but don't yet exist in Washington or in the U.S. And finally, we need local and regional policy and global standards for consistent and accurate carbon accounting across the whole fuel life cycle, in addition to incentive programs that can help close that cost gap. The port's work on low and zero emission fuels is really critical to realize our port climate goals and to support our industry partners in their zero emission goals too. And we believe that by researching, planning for, and demonstrating future fuels today, we will be better positioned to support a zero emission maritime industry in the future. And we continue to make great progress. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and I'll now turn the presentation back to Linda.
Thanks, Alex. Next slide, please. Great. I'll finish up by telling you about the other new item happening this season. Star Princess arrives this Sunday and is the first LNG-fueled cruise ship based in Seattle. She will call 21 Sundays over the summer, and every other week expects to bunker LNG provided by Seaspan Energy, LNG from Fortis, BC in Canada. LNG bunkering is new to Seattle, but not new in the U.S., Canada, or globally. Extensive planning has gone into this effort, including a full risk assessment and mitigation plans with U.S. Coast Guard, first responders, industry, tribal, and regulatory engagement. U.S. Coast Guard letter of no objection was received by the cruise line and the fuel provider this last Friday. And we are working closely with Seattle Fire as well to provide air monitoring for the first few fueling events to consider any impacts to Terminal 90 and 91 areas. Star Princess was launched in October of 2025, has capacity for 4,300 guests, plus 1,547 crew, and is shore power equipped. Next slide. And then thanks to Commissioners Fellman and Calkins for hosting the industry panel this morning. I think it was really insightful to have such a broad panel talking about LNG and RNG and what that means to our region. We know LNG is not a climate solution, but can provide significant air quality benefits above conventional maritime fuel. It is commercially available, but alone will not achieve the port or region's climate goals over the long term. RNG is a non-fossil alternative that could be a longer-term climate solution. However, it is not commercially available at scale globally. The port does not regulate fuels that ships bunker in port, but strongly encourages ships to use low and zero emission fuels. And we do what we can to support the cruise lines and regulators to ensure safe, environmentally compliant operations. Next slide. And then just the last few items to finish off. A few other things we've been working on as we launched the 2026 season. You will remember we did a RFP and hired a new terminal operator at T91 that was selected this winter. Pacific Cruise Ship Terminals stood up the terminal, stevedoring, and security operations, and the early few calls have gone very well. Our partners, Cruise Terminals of America, continue to operate at Pier 66. Of course, we have that small thing called the FIFA Men's World Cup coming up in mid-June to early July. 6 match days here in the region. Of the 6 match days, 5 of them are cruise ship days, and Juneteenth will be especially challenging with a 3-ship day on this holiday match, which is USA versus Australia. Terminal 9166 Cruise Shore Power Extension Project development is ongoing. Construction is anticipated to begin in late 26 and in use for the 2027 cruise season. On today's commission consent agenda was the early work amendment to procure long lead materials for construction on that project. And then finally, as you've heard many times today, a reminder that the cruise business provides $1.2 billion in economic impact to the region, providing over 5,000 jobs, and allows us to welcome over 2 million revenue passengers to our region, a significant economic impact to the Seattle and Greater Washington area. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Excellent presentation. I'm going to turn it over to commissioners with any questions or comments. You guys want to start? Go ahead. Commissioner Fellman.
Thanks so much for the review. I really appreciate you adopting the dashboard. It allows for a good synoptic review of the season and tracking over time. I guess we have to start plotting the curve so that we can see how these numbers are varying. And so that's really good. I was interested to know, was it the RMI study that looked at willingness to pay for green premium? Because that was the first I've heard of that.
That's part of the Maris McKinney-Muller Center's model, and that's part of the feasibility study that we conducted for the green methanol. The green methanol feasibility study is part of the green corridor. So it's not RMI. RMI is one of the sub-consultants working with Northwest Seaport Alliance, but for the Port of Seattle on this particular cruise project, it was the Maersk Center.
So is that going to be released when the green corridor studies, or is that a study that's already out there?
That'll be released as part of the green corridor study, yes.
And I was appreciative of the fact that that Carnival was willing to pay for that pilot project with the biodiesel. We paid for like half of that. Was that partially funded by the port?
The port certainly made a contribution. Linda, do you have
Yeah,
the exact?
the port contributed, I believe the number was 250,000 for the delivery of the full report and accounting of all of the steps along the way. So as a learning for the project and to carry forward.
And because like, regardless of the alternative fuel, they're all challenged by cost and availability and delivery mechanisms. But I really find, today's panel discussion that we had, it really is clear that, the fact that LNG is here today, the piping is in, the dispensing with bunkering is there. There is already 3% RNG in the gas line that comes to town. And from the RNG coalition we just heard from, there's this significant abundance of RNG available, and there's this latent demand that if any cruise line or other maritime use just made a longer-term uptake agreement, more would become available and the price would come down. So this is sort of the chicken and egg we've had with the airlines, that, SAF will become more available and cheaper if indeed somebody would make a 10-year commitment to it. And so I'm hoping we can find ways to really look at what it would take to get, real uptake agreements that would make this chicken and egg thing stop. I mean, but I really think it's incumbent upon us to embrace the fact that over 50% of the new builds are going to be LNG capable. We may want to jump over that in the future, but we really have to deal what's presently before us. And, I always recall Dennis Hayes telling me, Fred, I'm glad you have a 2050 strategy, but I want to know what you're doing tomorrow. So, I keep on keeping that in the back of my head and look forward to seeing how whatever cost gap we have to clear. I mean, we've spent a couple decades now working on federal, state, local legislation to buy down the cost of SAF. We've made significant progress to that end. It's still significantly more expensive and a small percentage in the fuel line. If we had 3% SAF already in planes, like is coming down to the cruise lines right now, we'd be celebrating. So I mean, I think we have a head start, and I just, I met with Bud Dar before with Clea, and he suggested that he doesn't believe that the cruise passenger would want to pay a green premium. And that was a sort of, I don't know if he'd seen the study or not, but that was just his back of the napkin thought. And he's like one of the most thoughtful guys in the business. And but what I believe is part of the need is for the cruise lines to make the case, right? And they have to be able to, sell the story in order for people to know what they're buying. And so I think there's always been this reluctance. If you're coming up with a solution, that means there may be a problem. So if you don't talk about the solution, you don't have to talk about the problem. But I honestly believe that there is, especially for the Alaska cruise, this is a punch list, environmentally focused cruise. You're not bathing in the sun, right? You're wearing a raincoat a lot. And so if folks that want to do that, I think if they knew there was a green premium that went into climate reduction efforts, there would be a willingness to pay. So I just look forward to seeing the study.
Thank you, Commissioner Feldman. Really selling the Alaska cruise season there. Yeah, gonna take your raincoat. No, there's lots of sunshine up there too during the season. Checked in with the other commissioners. I think I'm the final one to go here. I wanted to share a little bit about what we learned last week when Wynn and I attended San Francisco Climate Week, and in particular to convene the Port Powerhouse again, and also to meet with a number of maritime stakeholders. We had a particularly interesting meeting with Fincantieri, who is the world's leading cruise ship builder, and so sort of going to the source and asking them, what is in your order book? And one of the really interesting things was they are in the process of building the first zero-emission cruise ship that will serve the Norwegian fjords. And so from August of 21, when we sat up here and said, when is the first, give us a timeline for the first zero-emission cruise to Alaska, to, fast forward just 5 years later, there is one in production to serve another market, but it shows that there is a pathway to zero emission on this. And we need to keep ratcheting up our requirements. And so, we see that in the presentation you made today about increasing compliance with voluntary programs and also now new port mandated programs. And the RNG panel, or the LNG and RNG panel that we held this morning, I learned a lot about availability. That was quite intriguing to me of additional RNG capacity, as Commissioner Fellman mentioned. So while not satisfied, I'm also encouraged that this work is really bearing fruit. And we are going to follow up those conversations with Fincantieri to understand who are the cruise partners we can be talking with about bringing that kind of technology to the Pacific Northwest for our cruise corridor. But rest assured, we're pretty excited about the season itself and the efforts being made to ensure that we're advancing sustainability in this industry as well. All right, hearing no further comments or questions on this topic, I want to say thank you for the presentation. Looking forward to a report out at the end of the season as well. And I'm going to ask Clerk Hart to read the last item into the record and have Executive Director Metric introduce it. I do know that we've got some commissioners on a timeline here and Executive Director Metric, so I think we're going to be able to wrap up in time to get everybody off to their next event, but that gives us about 10 minutes on this topic.
And this is Agenda Item 11C, Sustainable Century and Fly Quiet Awards.
Commissioners, port staff are pleased to recognize the 2026 recipients of the Sustainable Century Awards across our aviation and maritime divisions, honoring partners who demonstrate leadership in environmental stewardship and sustainability. These awards reflect the shared commitment of our customers, tenants, and community partners in advancing the Port's Century Agenda goals. The Port will host this year's awards launching on May 19th, and the commissioners are invited to join in celebrating these accomplishments. We also recognize recipients of the Fly Quiet Awards, highlighting airline efforts to reduce aircraft noise and support our commitment to the surrounding communities. And we have a number of folks here. So we have Sarah Cox, Director of Aviation Environment Sustainability, Jeremy Webb, Environment Program Manager, Evan Ash, Environmental Management Special, Paris Edwards, Environmental Management Specialist. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah.
Great, thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you, Executive Director Metric. I'm Sarah Cox, the Director of Aviation Environment Sustainability. I'm here on behalf of Sandy Kilroy today. So in our celebration of Earth Day this month, I am really excited to present the winners of the Port's 2026 Sustainable Century Awards for the Aviation and Maritime Divisions and our Fly Quiet Awards. The Sustainable Century Awards recognize our customers, tenants, nonprofits, and partners for outstanding accomplishments in the areas of environment and sustainability during 2024 and 2025. Award winners serve as role models and demonstrate exceptional leadership for their operations or involvement with our operational facilities. These businesses are key partners in helping the Port achieve our sustainability goals set forth in the Century Agenda. We're also here to recognize the winners of the Port's Fly Quiet Awards for airline efforts to reduce noise at SEA. The annual Fly Quiet Awards were developed by Port staff and a citizen advisory committee in 2005 to increase airline and pilot awareness of aircraft noise impacts on our local communities. So I'll now pass it over to Evan to present the Maritime Sustainability Century Award winners.
Can we go up 2 slides, I think? Thank you. So I'm here to announce 2 awards that honor innovation and advance environmental stewardship across our maritime community. First, the Environmental Innovation Award. This year's recipient is Carnival Cruise Lines for our Sea Pledge Sustainability Program. Carnival has demonstrated innovation in circular economy practices and waste reduction. 2 highlights from this program include partnering with suppliers on sourcing sustainable ingredients and also reducing packaging across the cruise line. Second, they've cut food waste per person in half and have used innovative on-ship aerobic biodigesters in that process. Next, the Environmental Performance Award. Pleased to recognize Carnival Corporation for their voluntary participation and performance in the Quiet Sound program. Carnival has shown consistent leadership in vessel noise reduction efforts with leading all other cruise vessels in participation in the 25-26 season, as well as outperforming all other vessel types in compliance with the Quiet Sound program. So congratulations, Carnival. I'll pass it to Jeremy. And next slide, please.
Great. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Executive Director Metric, Jeremy Webb, Environmental Programs at the Aviation Division. I'll be announcing the aviation award winners for this year. We have 3 different award winners receiving awards in the nomination-based categories, 2 of which will also receive our measurement-based awards as well. Our first is Alaska Airlines for their SEA Gateway or North Main Terminal renovation project, which you've all seen has recently been opened, provides an elevated customer experience, but also includes critical sustainability elements in there. One thing we'd like to highlight with this particular award is the recognition of their decision to pursue voluntarily the U.S. Green Building Council's leadership in energy and environmental design, certification at the silver level, and even pursuing gold. We're optimistic. I think we're just about 3 points away in their high maybe from achieving LEED Gold certification on that project. That includes a lot of enhanced energy monitoring, performance demand, also looking at sustainable use of materials and other fits and finishes, and we're super proud of their accomplishments. Switching over to the next item that they have been recognized for is the greatest use of our preconditioned air and ground power systems. This is based off of at-gate facilities that allow airlines to turn off their APUs and reduce fuel usage, therefore consumption of fuel and emissions. Alaska is being recognized for 91% connection time, 4 minutes on average to connect, and staying connected 68% of the time, really showing the way for the other airlines to lead in that category. Shifting over to our next award winner, Delta Airlines, they're being recognized for eliminating toxic chemicals by reducing or eliminating their PFAS-based fire suppression system at their maintenance hangar. Included reduction of 12,000 gallons of PFAS-based aqueous film-forming foam, replacing it with 100% water-based filtrations or fire suppression system. This should be complete within the next 3 months. One of the other things that we're recognizing them for is the highest use of fuel-efficient aircraft, another one of our aviation measurement-based awards. They are achieving that for a 49% fuel-efficient fleet. That includes an increase of from 45% in 2024 and from 40% in 2023. This is based on their use of Airbus modern fuel-efficient A320neos and other aircraft as well. Finally, our last award winner in the aviation side is Concessions International. They're receiving an award in the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion category for their use of small, local, and WIMBY suppliers and partners. It's a very intentional approach. They bring on these suppliers. They intend to provide operational support and guidance. And one of the key highlights we'd like to showcase is that about 11% of their overall annual spend goes towards these individual small and WIMBY suppliers, which make up roughly half of their overall supplier roster. So congratulations to Concessions International. Fantastic suite of aviation awards coming out this year. And with that, we'll turn it over to Paris Edwards for the Noise Abatement Office and the Fly Quiet Awards.
Thank you, Jeremy, and good afternoon, Commissioners. Paris Edwards, Senior Environmental Management Specialist with the Noise team. Sarah already highlighted the overview of the Fly Quiet Award. So what I'd like to jump into is we have a in-depth scoring system that we evaluate 2 airlines for the best record of achievement, followed by a third that is most improved, where we're looking at improvement year over year in terms of noise impact. Next slide, please. And so I'll highlight the winners here. We have Air Canada. They had the overall best score of 724, so highest out of all the airlines this year. This is also their 4th Fly Quiet Award, and then followed by Frontier. Just overall high scores, and this is their 7th consecutive Fly Quiet Award. So they have been excellent and consistent in their performance. And a newcomer is most improved is Iceland Air. They utilized Airbus 321 XLR, which is really new to the industry, long range, very quiet, extremely fuel efficient, which jumped their score by, I believe, almost 30 points from the previous year. So these are our Fly Quiet winners. Next steps, we'll post the winners online for all to see. We already have the banners ordered and posted, and we will then transition to the the Fly Quiet Luncheon Awards. So thank you.
Next slide, please. Right. So in closing, we'd just like to express our congratulations to all the award winners this year and highlight that we will be celebrating with them May 19th in this very room at the Airport Conference Center. We will be providing additional detail on all of their accomplishments, distributing awards, and we welcome the presence of our esteemed commissioners and leadership. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Yeah, that's really the big party for this. So we really appreciate you coming ahead of time to make sure that not only we heard it firsthand, but also that folks who tune into the commission meetings and for posterity to have a recording of this. This is these awards that really are a backbone of our work to really highlight the efforts of our partners to increase sustainability at SEA and at our maritime properties. So thank you all so much. Any questions or comments from commissioners on this? Anybody planning to attend the luncheon?
I am.
Sam, Fred, great.
Good, Sam, you can do the presentation. All right, so just two things. One is, the Fly Quiet Awards is both an operational thing as well as machinery, right? And so it would be kind of good to know, a lot of these NEOs are the quiet ones, right? And I thought Spirit used to get a lot of the awards as well, but it's kind of interesting to know because one's really pilot controlled and the other one is just, investment in machinery. And so I would like to give the pilots an attaboy if, with specific identification, because that's really kind of more of a discretionary thing.
Yeah, there is a procedural part of this that we do look at. So that is a big factor in how we calculate. So I think that's something that we can discuss. But yes, that is a huge part of Fly Quiet, not just the aircraft, but pilot performance and adhering to our gate procedures.
Because, I mean, the absolute noise may be the same, but I think one shows a skill set that I think the human factor is really important to recognize. I think the only other thing on the cruise side, it's a little confusing for many people. You have Carnival winning an award and you have Carnival Corp winning an award. So just so folks know, Carnival Corp includes Carnival Cruise Lines as well as Holland America and Princess, and I think their subsidiaries as well. So Carnival isn't double dipping, it's two different entities, right? The only thing I would note is that the cruise season is, like spring to fall, right? And the quiet sound season is really, fall to winter. And so while Carnival won the award for it's a percentage, it's a high level of compliance, but it was actually very few transits because it was just really on the shoulder of the season. And I've seen the data. So it's, it's just because it's a shoulder season. I don't want to take away from that the time that they're there. During the season, they're very compliant, and all the cruise lines should be, but it's just a very small overlap with the season. And the final thing is this, it would be kind of interesting to know, well, there's a panel who does the evaluation. It would be kind of interesting to know who put forward the nominations as part of the evaluation. So I thank you for this work. I think it's really important to highlight highliners, and I'll let you talk now.
No, I'll second that and just say that Quiet Sound did nominate Carnival Corporation for their high compliance. So Carnival did not put themselves up for that. Quiet Sound did.
Thank you so much. Great presentation. And that concludes our business meeting agenda for the day. Barring any closing comments at this time or motions relating to committee referrals from commissioners, I'll give Executive Director Metric one more bite at the apple if you have any comments.
Yeah, thanks, Commissioners. I think the one thing I didn't mention in my Executive Director report is the ongoing global conditions regarding the Straits of Hormuz and its impact on us. I think that's something we'll be reporting back to the Commissioners because those second and third order impacts from flights being canceled. We know Edelweiss has canceled a flight to Zurich, and now we know Delta is canceling flights as well. So we're going to be examining that because that has impacts, and then the inflationary aspect across both construction, as Commissioner Cho noted, and our in all of our operations. We have to look at that, and we have to look at those impacts on our revenues as well. The tickets are more expensive and spending less. So we're going to have to be doing some hard sharpening of pencils and looking at those second and third order effects as we go further in the year, and we're only into April now. But those, I'm afraid some of those impacts will be lengthening through the year, and some are predicting even multi-years ahead of us. So on that good news.
Yeah,
I
well,
will
and
finish my
to
comments.
pile on, we're also hearing of strings being canceled on the maritime side to be, with the explicit statement following it that this is because of the constraints on transportation logistics associated with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So
But on the upside, it's making alternative fuels more cost competitive.
it's true.
So,
All right.
Commissioner, that's how I led with that.
Hearing no further comments and having no further business, if there is no objection, we are adjourned at 2:38 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.